No one wants to run to the grocery store for just a couple ingredients and you end up spending $150 on stuff you don't need. So today, we're talking about stocking your pantry for winter so you always have something that you can fall back on, right? Those are the staples in the pantry. Melissa Yeager is registered dietitian at Hy-Vee. Welcome back, good to see you.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, so what are we gonna make today with our staples that are in the pantry?
Well, I don't know about you, but in the winter, I kind of crave those warm and cozy meals. So we're actually going to be making a pasta fagioli soup recipe today.
I'm sorry, what are we making?
Pasta fagioli.
Pasta fagioli.
All right. Italy versus Jersey.
Yes. And I wanted to just touch base on, I know it can be a pain sometimes to run out when you're just missing a couple things, and it is worthwhile in the new year to maybe do a reset on your pantry and take inventory of what you actually have and maybe restock on a few staple items. And so some of those can include things like canned beans. And so I really love no salt added canned beans to have on hand. And so in today's recipe, we're using chickpeas and Great Northern beans.
Okay.
And we're adding them to our pot that I've already gone ahead and sauteed up some Italian sausage, a few carrots, a few stalks of celery, some garlic, Italian seasoning, and a little salt and pepper to taste.
Excellent.
So it's kind of everything in one pot, which I also love about a soup recipe on a weeknight.
Yeah, this is great. It's a hearty soup.
And this
an easy
only
one.
takes a few minutes to saute, get the meat browned up, and then you can start adding in your other ingredients. So I'll have you dump in the chickpeas or garbanzo beans, and I've drained and rinsed both of them.
Okay.
That also helps to reduce the sodium because we know that a lot of people are focused on their heart health.
Sure. 2 bay leaves?
2 bay leaves.
Wow, don't eat those.
And then one of my other favorite pantry staples to have on hand is no salt added stocks, broths, things like that you can use as great cooking liquids for rice, grains, but you can also add them into soups, casseroles, and you're adding in 2 32-ounce containers.
Okay.
And so this is going to be a really hearty, plentiful soup here. And then we're also going to add in some canned diced tomatoes. Again, if you wanted to cut back on the sodium further, you could find a no salt added canned tomato, but otherwise you can also just grab whatever you already have in your pantry and add that in.
Okay.
And it's all just going to cook down together. Once we get this mixture to a boil is when we would add in our final ingredient of
The pasta.
dry pasta. And I love to keep a variety of pasta shapes, noodles, sizes on hand in my pantry, but what I really love to do is find those that are a little bit higher in protein and fiber.
Sure.
So in today's recipe, we'd be putting in Banza pasta noodles.
Okay.
And so they're actually a gluten-free noodle that's chickpea based.
Yeah.
And so again, it's having that more nutrient dense noodle, and really it's gonna hold up texturally pretty well in the soup. And so that's what I appreciate too, because sometimes noodles can kind of fall apart or crumble and they just don't
don't wanna
really
overcook
hold
them.
up. And
That's
I don't
right.
want to overcook them. So
That's right.
once it's boiling, it only cooks for maybe another 5 to 7 minutes or just until the noodles are al dente.
So this one's
Who
cooked.
makes it
Yes.
is saying that this version is different than his and fantastic.
Yes, it's tremendous.
Right?
Tremendous. We
I like
use
it.
dittolini, the little
The
round-
little tiny ones,
Yeah, we use
yep.
the
I gotta heat
dittolini.
mine up just
And
a
I
little
couldn't
bit.
find small variations of like the Banza or the protein pastas
they're
for
not
it, but
out
you're
there.
right, that's
They're
often
not out
called
there.
for in the recipes. And I love to just garnish with a little bit of flat leaf Italian parsley,
Yeah,
some
parsley.
Parmesan cheese,
Perfect.
things that you may already have, like some cheese, things like that in your
Fun
fridge.
to have this on the stove in the winter.
Yeah, it's
You're
just
the best.
gonna make the
Winter
soup house
food.
smell great.
No
You're
question
the best.
about
Hey,
it.
the soup recipe, Melissa Yeager, thank you so much. The
You're
soup
welcome.
recipe and a link to Hy-Vee is on care11.com. You can scan the QR code on the bottom right of the screen right there. Let's keep it up and get the cell phones out and just
Oh, what a good idea. Did that just get added?
Look at
See all these
that.
new things.
Love it.
21st century.
We'll be back with our second hour in 3 minutes. It's delicious. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now it's